Happy Tuesday and Happy New Year. I'm back, baby. I've taken a little break over the holidays and now here we are. We're back in the new year. New year, that whole exciting time of making new goals and New Year's resolutions and all those things. New year, new you. Bullshit. I tried to censor myself, but then it's worthy of the actual word because it is. It really is bullshit. And we want to make sure that we look at that. This whole idea of like taking on an entire new year simply because there's a particular number on the calendar, it's bullshit. And here's why. Well, first of all, let me just say this. If you have tried the whole new year, new you thing, and you are still doing the thing, that it didn't fade out after a couple weeks, didn't fade out after a couple months, it lasted not only the whole year that you wanted to do it, but beyond. That when you said, this is my New Year's resolution, my new year, new you is blah, blah, blah. Going to the gym every single day, right? And then you did that like 5 years ago when you made that resolution and now you're still doing it. This video isn't for you. You got it. You know what you're doing. You can feel free to move on. But if one of two things, either you have tried that and again, you are not still doing the thing, or if you're contemplating playing with this thing, maybe run the experiment, run the experiment. Let's see if it works for you. But here's the concern, especially for those of you that have tried it and it has faded away, is when we talk about new year, new, that just means that we're getting rid of everything else. If it's a new you, that means you are negating all of your life experience, all of your life lessons, who you have grown into. If you are deciding that you want to be, like if you're telling yourself, we know that language matters. We know that your brain believes what you tell it. And so it's important how you tell it and the way you phrase it and how often and the mood in which it's done. We know that we can, in fact, trick our brains in many different ways, right? So language matters. Focus matters. And so if you're focusing on being a new you, that means you have to get rid of all the things, all of the life lessons, all those lovely moments, all the things that you learned from them, all those lovely relationships, how far you've gone financially, how far you've gone, professionally and in your family and your friends and all those things you're saying you need to throw out in the name of this turning yourself into someone else. And the problem with that is, so many, I'm sure you see, right? But one of them is it's just not sustainable. It's why it doesn't last more than a couple weeks or a couple months, because it's just not sustainable. Why? Because you are dismissing who you are. You are assuming that you can totally flip the switch and turn off the switch of who you already are. You're not taking into consideration all of those life lessons and histories and memories and experiences and relationships and learnings and all of those things. You're not taking them into consideration when making this shift. And you are still in there. All of those things are still in there. You would not be who you are today if you didn't have them. You are who you are because of your past. And so to say that you just want to have a new you, that's starting from scratch. That's saying because that's the mentality you're bringing on is I want to be this whole new person. But I'm sorry, but it's totally impossible to just turn into someone new and negate everything you've learned up until this point in your life. We need to take into consideration who you actually are right now, today, because of your past. We need to build on those learnings, not throw them away, not just say, oh, there's a new one. No. We need to build. We're talking about adding something new and lovely to your life, or replacing one particular habit or aspect, but replacing while taking into consideration who you actually are. Taking into consideration your DNA, your life history, your family and genetic history, the culture in which you were raised, the culture in which you're in now, your current situation, all of those things brought you to who you are today. And if you like who you are today or not, that's who you are today. And trying to flip the switch to someone completely new, it's just impossible. And so that's why things fade away so easily. It's important to build off of who you already are. Don't try and throw everything away. Just add one little tweak, one little new habit, just one more thing that gets you closer to the changes that you want to make. Not a whole new person, just some tweaks to who you already are, and then switching some of these tweaks. The first step in doing so is making sure that your relationship with yourself is strong enough to do that, that you are in acceptance of who you are today, right now, this moment. Who are you right now? Then define what is the one, just the one little thing that you want to see different. And then we looking at the acceptance of who you are right now. What do you want to build on top of that? What is the next layer you want to add on to the person who is you? If you were the tree and the rings of the tree, what do you want this new ring to symbolize for you? What do you want this new ring to look like this year? And so we have to make sure that you are in acceptance of who you are. You love exactly who you are right now, even with all the stuff. Acceptance of who you are right now is, in fact, the only way to make lasting change for the rest of your life. Because that's what we're talking about when we're saying new year, new you. You want to be different, not just today, but for the rest of your life. But the thing is, we can't switch everything around for the rest of your life. We just need to add one more thing on top of it. What is this year's ring going to look like for you? And keep that in mind when you are establishing your goals and habits. Is this a habit that you want to try out for a couple of weeks? Or is this a habit you want to have for the rest of your life? Is it sustainable for the rest of your life? Any eating changes you want to make? Are you willing to take on this new diet for the rest of your life? Is this new movement commitment something you are willing to do for the rest of your life? Is this new personality change and language change that you want to take on to maybe help your relationships or your working relationships? Do you want to do it for the rest of your life, or are you just trying it on for size because it's a new fangle-dangle thing? First, make sure if you really, really want the new you, that means the rest of your life. So making sure that if it's just something you want to try on for size, that's cool too. And to be fair, you know me, I'm all about running the experiment. Run the experiment, try the new fad thing, but don't expect that when you stop the fad, that the progress isn't going to go away. The progress is attached to the habit, not to the you. And so if you see progress with a new routine or a new habit, just know that when you take that habit away, the progress will go away too. And so it's important to recognize that and make sure that you want to put in that kind of commitment for the rest of your life if you want to see the progress for the rest of your life. So many times people will try that new fad diet and it's like, oh, I lost all this weight. And then it's like, but then when I went off of it, it all came back on. Well, of course it did, because you changed the thing that had you losing the weight. People will journal or try some kind of new mental exercise. They'll meditate or journal or do gratitude practices and feel really, really great and say, oh, I don't need this anymore, and then wonder why they go back into the depression. It's because that was your medicine. It's the habit that is bringing the progress. And when you stop the habit, the progress stops too. So take a moment and assess, what is the change that I want to make? What do I want to add on to who I am? What do I want this new ring this year to look like? And am I willing for it to be permanent? That ring never goes away. When that new ring on that tree grows, the old one doesn't disappear. It's still there, influencing. And so am I willing to do this for the rest of my life? I wish you all the best of luck. I want all the most wonderful things for you. I want you to see the changes you're making. And that's why I want you to do it in a way that is lasting, effective, and like really, really works for you. You don't need to be a new you. You are just so perfect and lovely and beautiful exactly the way you are. Just a couple little tweaks here and there. Just a little learning, just a little habit. That's all. That's all. And only so that you can feel better about yourself. It's all about you, my friend. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your New Year's resolutions are. Let me know what you do want to try, and let me know what the barriers are, what is getting in the way of making this habit lasting for the rest of your life. And let me help you out with that. Have a wonderful New Year. Enjoy designing your new ring on your tree, and I will see you next Tuesday.